What is up, YouTube family? Thank you guys for tuning back into Wilburn Reactions. My name is Chod. If you are new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Also, notification buttons on at all times. I do release videos throughout the day. Today, we're headed into some Jimmy Dean. Big Bad John is a song we are going into, and this is supposed to be some old school classic country we are going into. Before I dive in, first and foremost, I want to thank my new subscribers for coming over, supporting me on my channel. Also, my subscribers has been here. Thank you guys for supporting me along this journey. But before I dive in, I want to let you guys know I do not talk, skip, or pause while the music is playing. I like to wait to the very end to give you my honest, detailed breakdown of the full song, so wait for that. Let's go and see what he brings to the table.
Big John, Big John. Every morning at the mine you could see him arrive. He stood 6'6" and weighed 245, kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip. And everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John. Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John. Nobody seemed to know where John called home. He just drifted into town and stayed all alone. He didn't say much, he kind of quiet and shy. And if you spoke at all, you just said hi to Big John. Somebody said he came from New Orleans, where he got in a fight over a Cajun queen, and a crashing blow from a huge right hand sent a Louisiana fella to the promised land. Big John, Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John. Then came the day at the bottom of the mine when a timber cracked and men started crying. Miners were praying and hearts beat fast, and everybody thought that they'd breathed their last except John. Through the dust and the smoke of this man-made hell walked a giant of a man that the miners knew well, grabbed a sagging timber and gave out with a groan, and like a giant oak tree just stood there alone. Big John, Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John. And with all of his strength he gave a mighty shove. Then a miner yelled out, "There's a light up above," and 20 men scrambled from a would-be grave. And now there's only one left down there to save Big John. With jacks and timbers they started back down. Then came that rumble way down in the ground, and as smoke and gas belched out of that mine, everybody knew it was the end of the line for Big John. Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John. Now they never reopened that worthless pit. They just placed a marble stand in front of it. These few words are written on that stand: "At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man, Big John." Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John, Big John, Big Bad John.
You know, whenever I hear music in this sort of context, I always go back to, I think this is where like the greatest of talent was created, because they really used their voice as instruments. You know, you had a full on, you know, 4 or 5 guys up there. You had a guy who led basically, and then the guys in the background, you had your bass, your alto, your tenor, you know, and maybe a soprano sitting up there. And they covered like every part what an instrument basically would cover, but just with their voices. And in this one, they kind of had, it sounded like they had some, maybe some congos in the background playing. But the rest is like, and maybe some other things is in the background covering. But my point is, the rest is covered by vocals, really. Like, this is vocals making this song sound like instruments are doing it. And a voice is an instrument, right? So that's where I get where I say, like, I think like the greatest of talent was created because these guys made something out of nothing, really. Like, a voice, if you can sing, sounds great. You know, you can get out there and sing and sound amazing. People listen to you. But when you bring a group together and make a full-on band sound out of just voices, that's impressive. That is very impressive. So I had to point that out. And then another thing is too, I've always talked about this style of delivery. You know, when you get an artist like this who delivers in this context, and some might say like, oh, he's just talking or this and that. I've heard people talk about like this style of music and they say, oh, he's just talking or he's doing that. That's not difficult. Yes, it is, because he's not just, it's the delivery form and the context of how he's rhyming and making a story out of it. You know, it's not as easy. It sounds, and when you listen to it, or hear it sounds when you listen to it, it sounds very easy, basically what I'm trying to say. But I think if you did it yourself, you'd be like, oh man, that's way harder than what I thought it was. You know, it's the flow and the context. And I've said this about Bob Dylan, you know, a lot. You guys heard me talk about that on his reactions. And it's a unique way of putting music out there. And I don't think I've even seen people in this generation try to do it. And that's why I tell you, I think that's why it's so difficult, you know, because if that's the case, a lot of people use this style. It's a rhyme pattern. It's like poetry, but in a more complex way. You know, poetry can be very complex. And I feel like this style of music is the complex way of poetry. And I've always admired it because you get a more vivid image painted for you when they do this. You know, it's almost like you're like a baby or a kid getting a bedtime story read to them and you're just waiting for the story and then, you know, how it's going to unfold and how the ending is and all that stuff. So every time I hear music along these lines like this, I'm thinking to myself like a little kid, like, man, what is the story going next? What's going to happen? Oh man, that was a beautiful ending, you know, while you're getting great music listening to it, you know? So I love it. You know, I've always admired our music comes in all different shapes and forms. You know, there's different styles, there's different ways. Some people have a different vision. A lot of people don't like. Some people sound a different way. It's uniqueness, but it's all just to listen and understand and maybe see what the artist is trying to paint. And sometimes it takes a couple listens. Sometimes you just won't grasp it. Some people just won't like it, but I really do love this style. Like I love the delivery. It's just something about it that gets me every time. But I love this delivery. But like I said, this was a blind sign. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys for bringing this artist to my channel. Thank you guys for coming over, supporting me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.